Hello all, welcome back to another video and welcome to Sammy G's World of Cinema, my first ever album review. And today guys, here on the channel, we're going to be taking a look at Elvis Costello's debut album, My Aim Is True, released on the 22nd of July 1977, released in November 1977 in the US. This album was produced by Nick Lowe, would release the following year with his cracking debut album, Jesus of Cool. Lowe would be with like Rockpile with Dave Edmunds before this, and Elvis Costello actually with Britsley Schwartz roadie with the band. Real name Declan McManus, performing in pubs in like Liverpool and London in 1970. Unfortunately, he didn't get like the records deal for subsequent years. 1976, when he was signed to Stiff Records, at the time a brand new like music label, epitomised sort of like the post-punk movement to some extent. You had the first ever punk single in the UK, which was New Rose by The Damned, released on the 22nd of October 1976, but there's other great artists on that label, Costello included, but also in Jury, Lenny Lovitch, The Damned. Album was recorded from late 1976 to early 1977. It was recorded at Pathway Studios in Islington, and it took over the course of 6 4-hour sessions as well, on a budget of £2,000 to make the album, you know, which is just mind-blowing. It does cover like on some like sort of heavy themes like on this album. Elvis Costello was the first artist to be signed to Stiff Records, as Costello was working as a data entry clerk. When he was like writing the songs, it would be like late in the evening. He would travel to Headley Grange to meet up with Clover. Rehearsal sessions, Costello and Clover had some like musical disagreements along the way when it came to like making this album. However, Costello did acknowledge the utterly superb musicianship of the band. New Wave, Elvis Costello was kind of one of the founding fathers of that genre. From Costello's demo tapes, performances with his former band Flip City, extra tracks Hoover Factory, to Luther's Assistant, Ghost Train, Stranger in the House were recorded during the sessions. Those tracks would feature on like future EPs and like B-sides for singles. And also this album did have like multiple you know, like outline, like colour font. I've got that, like my original copy comes with like a green, but I think you had a blue, yellow and a pink as well. So yeah, it's kind of a bit similar to sort of like Squeeze's Cull for Cats album, where you get like a blue, green, pink, yellow on the cover. It does of course look a bit like Buddy Holly. Artwork is by Barney Bubbles, who would do like the artwork for other of Costello's subsequent albums after this. Excellent artwork. I love again the back cover. I'm not sure if this did come with like an original inner sleeve, guys, but I can't actually remember where I picked this one up. But that's just like what the label looks like. I was really pleased to get like an original copy of this, and it sounds fantastic. So yeah, absolutely thrilled to like pick that one up, because it is yeah, one I really did want to like get on vinyl there. So the album really opens up with a bang with Welcome to the Working Week. You think it's going to be like maybe a bit of like a ballad, which is great, of course, because I love it when Elvis Costello does that, but then it goes into a mini rocker, and it just packs so much into like 1 minute and 20. Quintessentially just superb. It's got so much going for it. I do love some of that the harmony vocals in there. Again, Costello absolutely firing at all pistons in this track. The guitar work is just splendid. Lyrically, he deals with frustration, the ruthlessness of business. Miracle Man, about this relationship between this man and woman, and the guy feels like he's been a bit overshadowed by girlfriend's recognition, and she's like living the dreams. Her boyfriend kind of feels a bit like jealous. Musically, this track again is just on that equal strength as Welcome to the Working Week. A really great like chiming sort of like string arrangement. No dancing. This track does take a little bit of a while for things to escalate, shall we say, but when it does, it is absolutely exquisitely good. Low key in comparison to the first two tracks. Lyrically, this guy and his girlfriend, I feel like tired, like with their day, and the political side to it. It also covers about a lack of world order and harmony as well that I did read up. So musically, it's got a very Phil Spector-y sort of like vibe, like lovely like harmonies, like again that closes off the track. Blame It on Kane, I think lyrically it's about a guy that he goes through like a financial sort of like situation, and then he wants to sort of like keep his like relationship smooth sailing, but if he feels like his partner is ever like dissatisfied, just to blame it on like Kane, and don't blame it on me, so blame it on the person that took like obviously this like sort of like away from me. Possibly one of my least favourite tracks on the album, but I still really like it. One of Elvis Costello's most famous songs. An absolute crying shame that this failed to chart at the time. Allison, this is just a really gorgeous ballad, really lovely warmth about it. You can tell this is Costello just really coming into his own with this song. He does something like just out of the blue like this, and it is fantastic, you know. Like his vocals really do shine through here. Distinctive crooning like voice. It's got a lush melody, especially John McGlee's it from the guitarist of Clover. Again, I love his guitar work on this album. Lyrically, this is about like Stella once upon a time ago like spotted a woman working in like this supermarket, and he kind of noticed that she was a little fed up with her job. Absolutely one of the best tracks on the album. Brilliant song, breathtaking. And to finish off side one, we have Sneaky Feelings, which has got some, again, lovely like harmonies, like soulful, tracky lyrically. Man and a woman that are dating, not really where to that their relationship wants to be. The guy feels like she is the right one, but he's got like other like feelings, but lyrically, like I've still got a long way to go. It closes off brilliantly with that. Side two, we have again another belter of a song, and another single called The Angels Wanna Wear My Red Shoes. This is definitely one of my favourite tracks on the album. One of my favourite Elvis Costello songs, you could say. It is just absolutely glorious. It's got a really lovely Fairlight sort of chiming quality to it. It's got a real sort of sway groove to it, and so notably this song Elvis Costello would actually, I think, sketch out. He did it within like about the remaining 10 minutes of his journey from London to like Liverpool, and I think I read somewhere that he had to like he had to go rush to like his mother's house and just sketch out like this song and get his old guitar out. It was just like a light bulb sort of moment, really. Lyrically, it's about like sort of a disappointment, romantic like sort of spell. It was like a relationship that just wasn't meant to be. It's got a real like sort of upbeat sort of drive to it. I think it keeps like it's got a real hooky sort of chorus. It's got lush melody as well, so absolutely superb. Sadly failed to chart, this song did, which again is just a real shame because it is such a breathtaking song. Elvis Costello's first ever single, Less Than Zero, which again, one of probably his most popular songs, and for good reason. This is just an absolutely belter of a tune. Defines sort of like what makes a real catchy new wave sort of like number. A really good like stomp to it. Lyrically, it's about like this this like politician called Oswald Mosley, broadcasted like interviews like in a political statement, politician in the British Union of Fascism. Mosley would like deny any of his like past statements or like any political views that he had in the past. All three of the singles of this album sadly did nothing chart-wise, which is a real shame because there was absolute potential there. Mystery Dance, which I think was only a single in Belgium. I do like it. It's only just, I think it's only just under 2 minutes. It pays a homage to like that 50s rock and roll scene as well, and it does have a pretty decent place like on the album. In terms of like vocal performance, Costello's not at his absolute core, his absolute peak on this track, but I think again he does seem to be having a bit of a fun time on Pay It Back, which got some really great like backing vocals. I do love like that sort of that lyric like that one of these days I'm gonna pay it back, like one of these days. I think lyrically about someone that's like kind of like determined that he's gonna like turn things around and just shy away from sort of like sort of like his like mistakes and sort of like errors that he's made in the past, and like fantasizes about like sort of like about like obviously a past like sort of relationship that could have been so much more. I think it's another like cracking track. The penultimate track, I'm Not Angry, which again I do love. It's got a real harder edge to it. Costello is just really belting it out here. He's really sort of like covering some really like sort of dark like messages in this song, where lyrically I think it's about like this relationship that goes on a real decline, like a real breakdown, and then when him and his ex break up, he finds that his ex is seeing this other guy, and then he becomes jealous, and then he's trying to sort of rise above like this sort of jealousy, and he tells himself like he's not like angry. Punk rock feel to it, and Waiting for the End of the World, which I think closes the album off brilliantly. Lyrically about someone who's had a real unsatisfying sort of like train journey. This track does like tell a story from then on, set of characters that kind of like seize power with like wrongdoings, and how did this came to be. Sin, you could say, and like wrongdoing. One of the tracks I didn't really listen to in much isolation to the album, but I think now it's kind of become a little bit of a grower. I think I just didn't think it was like the ultimate standout track like as many other the tracks on here, but now I think it's really grown on me, and I've really like grown to love it. A sweeping sort of like element to it that really closes off the album. Waiting for the End of the World, and like the last track on the album. As you can probably tell, I absolutely love this album. Absolutely superb. And considering like the budget they put into this album, first ever album Elvis Costello wrote, delivered. It was the first album that Nick Lowe ever produced. Glorious time for like Costello. Straight off the bat, really like found his feet and just found his style and found his image. The production is still aged brilliantly. Really important album because the new wave movement was kind of like a brand new like sort of music scene at this time, but at the same time of 1977 you would have the punk movement as well. not only that, it is just like no other album I've ever heard in my life. Costello just meshes so many, a wide variety of genres. Like, you've got a bit of reggae, you've got a bit of 50s rock and roll, you've got a little bit of pub rock, hard rock, punk, power pop, and each track just has something different to offer, brings something different to the table. It's honestly become one of my favourite albums of all time. Is this my favourite Costello album? I think it could be, you know, folks. I think, and don't get me wrong, like, this year's Model, I think is absolutely tremendous, but I think this might just edge it, but just because I do love, obviously, this year's Model, and Elvis Costello would just go on to having a real great streak of like home runs. Costello obviously would form the attractions, I think, just a month before this album did release. Clover, Costello's kind of partnership just came to an end one day. The attractions, what they would bring to the table with Elvis Costello at the absolute forefront, would just be absolute genius music in like pop culture. Nonetheless, Clover did an absolute superb job within like musicianship, and of course, guys, I'm definitely gonna give this album a 10 out of 10. Another note, I am gonna actually leave a link down to Ross Goodall's album review of this. Richard McCook did a good Elvis Costello video. If I can find that, guys, I will leave a link to that video. And also, James Griffiths did a fantastic collab video with another fellow about 6 years ago, discussing Elvis Costello's run of albums up until I think about about up to that, maybe the early 90s. I cannot wait to go and see Elvis Costello in concert at the Sage Glass House at the 7th of September. Watching the Detectives, I think, was included on the American version on the album. To be honest, doesn't really belong on like the album in that respect. I think better as a standalone like single, and it is an absolutely brilliant song. It peaked at number 15 in the UK charts, and it would peak at number 32 in the US singles charts as well. One of Elvis Costello's obviously most acclaimed songs. Beautiful, like sort of slow burn like number. So guys, do let me know in the comments down below what's your thoughts on Elvis Costello in general, but also this album. Have you got any favourite albums? What's your favourite songs? I would love to hear all that good stuff in the comments down below. I just want to say, guys, again, thank you so much for all the lovely like comments, the likes, and if you have subscribed, thank you, guys. Thanks for watching. Cheers for stopping by. And until next time, I'll see you for the next video. Bye-bye.